We have cookies in the shape of our hearts for our lovely guests.
It represents the poem.
Because our poem is about love. I'm Ria. This is Evie. Hello. This is Eli. And this is our representation of Remember by Christina Rossetti.
Remember by Christina Rossetti. Remember me when I'm gone away, gone far into the silent land, when you can no more hold me by the hand, nor half turn to go but turn to stay. Remember when no more day by day you tell me of our future that we plan. Only remember me. You understand it will be too late to counsel then or pray. That if you should forget me for a while, and afterwards remember, do not grieve. Let the darkness and corruption leave a vestige of thoughts that once had. Better by far we should forget and smile, and that we should remember and be sad.
There exists a saying by Victor Hugo that reads, "Life is a flower for which love is a honey." Life brings love, and love brings life. It proves itself to be a mutual one that is a beautiful relationship that strings together all that we know as living. The performance that which you all just watched is our reenactment of Christina Rossetti writing Remember. Written at 19 years old, an age very similar to all of yours, Christina Rossetti imbues powerful and evocative and resplendent sentiment into her writing. An ambiguous love, one that is timeless yet ephemeral, binds itself to the sonnet format. And although bound, it stretches across infinite destinations and generations, that it even relates to us, almost 200 years later. Think about it. 14 lines, specific speaking pattern, specific rhyme scheme, all, yet nevertheless, a single poem can express infinity. It changed the very abstract concept of love into a single excerpt. Yet this excerpt, in and of itself, is beautiful, evocative, and resplendent. Now, you might be curious about this flower way of speaking, so let's move on to something more concrete. Flowers. Flowers, like love, come in infinite varieties. There are tulips, poppies, carnations, flor de mayo, etc., all that you can name. And each and every single flower has a specific meaning and definition that even in the 17th and 18th century, they were used by the Victorians in order to convey a message towards somebody, perhaps a lover, perhaps a colleague. For example, if I wanted to say, "I will remember you for forever," you would send such person a poppy, a red poppy, such as this one. Now, I have a question, or an active question for all of you, which at least one of you hopefully will raise your hand. What do you all think, except from chocolate and maybe being treated by for a dinner, is the most romantic gesture one can do on a special holiday? Maybe it's a holiday, a birthday, an anniversary, or the special day of Valentine's, February 14th.
Okay, I don't know, I guess like just simple things that you can do, like that you both can remember like forever, like something like that.
Almost. Hint, we just talked about it.
Send flowers.
Yes, you're so right. You hit the nail on the head. Going back, of course. As I said before, flowers have infinite meanings. Each and every flower have a different significance. So you might have noticed this rather odd display of flowers. I mean, there's wheat in it, the colors often clash with each other, and it's overall just a bit different. However, this isn't just your ordinary odd vase of flowers. This is our representation of Christina Rossetti's Remember. And the way we did it, we deconstructed every single line in the poem and connected it back to a single theme. And then that theme had a corresponding flower, that which, who better to explain it than Christina Rossetti herself.
So we first off have the most classic representation of love, that being the red rose. That either being its more passionate color or just its overall beauty. The red rose represents undying love, a love that is expressed well throughout the poem and is a major theme. And then we move on to the red poppy, as mentioned before. The red poppy represents remembrance. So remembrance is also characterized throughout the poem through the repetition of the line, remember, 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 throughout the entire poem, and represents Christina Rossetti's desire to be remembered by her loved one after she is gone. But then we move on to something a little bit sadder. Contrasted with the red poppy, we have the purple opium poppy. Now, while the red poppy represents remembrance, opium poppy actually represents forgetfulness and just forgetting, which is also represented throughout the poem, as Christina Rossetti keeps emphasizing remember, 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 not wanting to forget. But then towards the end of the poem, she also says it's okay to forget if it brings you sadness, if it brings you joy to forget something, opposed to the happiness. And then another beautiful flower we have here is the white chrysanthemum. Now, the white chrysanthemums often represent longevity and beauty, especially the color white, which is often a pure color. However, the white chrysanthemum specifically represents a farewell, a goodbye. It could be just a regular goodbye from day to day, or it could be a goodbye for more long term, as described in the poem. So we chose to add in the white chrysanthemum as the forgetfulness and the farewell are represented throughout the poem. Then we also have something a little bit darker, that being the black rose. So the black rose often represents corruption, darkness, and evil. Those are all things that can be characterized through the idea of death, which is represented throughout the poem, which has death and mourning, as Christina Rossetti is writing after she has passed. Then to wrap it all together in a more happier term, we chose to incorporate wheat. Now, it might be a kind of odd assortment of flowers, but the wheat represents resurrection. So the wheat represents how the love is eternal that she holds for her loved one, and how their love will transcend a lifetime.
And together, all of these flowers, each in their different symbolic beauty, come together to form one representation of a whole. Representation that's not complete in symbolic beauty, because that would take an infinite amount of flowers, and I don't have the time or the money for that, and neither do Michael's, but a beautiful representation nonetheless. And as all flowers must eventually reach their ephemeral end, this performance and presentation in total too shall come to a conclusion. And what's a better conclusion than a new beginning? A response to the flower bouquet that is remember, but this time said by the recipient of the original poem and written by yours truly.
You say, remember me. It's a task. Like it's even a possibility to forget. Oh, I'll remember you when I see the stars we wished upon together. When I dream of the family that we will never have. When I wake up in an empty bed, alone and cold and lonely. Oh, I'll remember you when I see your personality disguised as daisies. When I hear your voice in the songs of the canary. When I long for just one more hug, one more feeling of warmth and love and peace. But I will try to carry on, build a life that you would be proud of, and become a better man. And though it proves easier to forget and live with rose-colored glasses amid the darkness and corruption, may your bloom reside in my memories. To you I bid farewell.